Pull the string! Pull the string!
Happy staunch Hellraiser, everybody. Welcome back to the channel, this time for another quickie review. I just saw Hellraiser 2022, and I just had a great time with it. I woke up at 3 in the morning like a goddamn idiot, and I want to tell you all about it. Right off the bat, it's a better movie than all of the other sequels, like I would say maybe aside from part 2, and I have a soft spot in my heart for Bloodlines, but as far as like everything after Bloodlines, this movie blows them out of the water and I think is a worthy remake, or whatever you want to call it. So basically in the film, the movie starts off with a guy named Voight who's feeding the puzzle box. Basically he's a very rich guy who's just feeding this puzzle box with like sex workers and whatnot. And then we see him sacrifice and whatever. We see the configuration of the box change, all right before the opening credits. Then we're introduced to our main character, Lily, a drug addict, and she is living with her brother, who's living with his boyfriend and some other people there in their little apartment. And he's basically trying to save her as she's in a spiral just of drugs and whatnot, and hanging out with the wrong people. And they get in a big argument, and she decides she needs some money. So the junkie boyfriend has the bright idea to break into this warehouse owned by a really rich guy, Voight. So they decide to do that, and what do they find? They find the box. So Lily goes home with the box, and all hell breaks loose. It does a lot of things that I felt were kind of familiar from other movies, like you have like the junkie sister and like the sibling trying to take care of her. It kind of gave me hints of like the Evil Dead remake, although everywhere that movie was flawed as far as that plot line. In the short time we get with the brother and sister together, I mean, you really do feel for everyone involved, and you kind of see this girl Lily, our main character, this drug addict who is just fucking up over and over, and it always ends up somebody else's problem almost. And as far as the puzzle box, I mean, it actually feels like a puzzle, possibly for the first time in the entire franchise. And this thing has an aura and like a menace to it. It's just creepy. It's like you're so concerned about this box. And that's another thing about this movie, is you learn a lot about the box and the lore and about the configurations themselves. The lament configuration actually being like literal in this movie. I just love it. You learn so much about the backstory of the box just through hearing about what it can do, not so much like a whole prequel thing again like in Bloodlines. But it's the box is a real character on its own here, and it really is scary. And the Cenobites that it brings forth, I mean, holy shit, there's a lot of them here, and they are all so goddamn creepy. Like some of the best designs, they kind of got rid of the leather thing, the bondage shit that they were going for, well, with Clive Barker, and they kind of just have their skin contorted and cut up in different designs. And there's this one that is just like wheezing the whole time, and it really drives home like the torture aspect, the pain, and how uncomfortable all of these Cenobites really must be, and how sadistic they are that they're into it, that they want to get more into that suffering. And the Cenobites here, just for the first time again, like they really have a real presence. They're throughout the whole movie. They're no longer just like in the beginning and the end, or in the background or whatever, or used to just as a shtick, like with the CD head, as cool as that was or whatever. You know what I'm saying? There's no camera head here. All the Cenobites are for real nightmare creatures. And it's kind of funny because sometimes when they appear, they just kind of walk around. They know they're there to find somebody, but it's like they walk right by them, And it kind of reminds me again of Bloodlines, whenever Pinhead just walks right by. And it's like, you got to think, I love those little things when they do that with these Cenobites, because it really just makes you think, it puts you in their shoes. Like they're coming out of hell into the real world, and they really have no idea what's going on. All they know is suffering. Man, and when the Cenobites do show up, it is horrifying. Like you can be right next to somebody, but if you got cut with that box, it's like a hellscape just comes in, and you get separated, and you are all alone. The third act in the film, which is a great third act, I thought it was weird that the Cenobites couldn't get inside the mansion. I don't know, maybe that's just me. What do you think of that? Well, it's covered with this weird like gate, and it's hard to get in, but Lily, our main character, she gets in. And so whenever the Cenobites show up later, they can't get in because there's a fence up, and they just like wait outside. Cenobites, they're just like, oh, let's just hang out here, guys. At the end, it's Lily, our lead, who's still kind of like a junkie, but she's learning to not be. You get hints of that, and her brother's boyfriend are the survivors. And I'm down for more of those two characters. I thought they're interesting enough there towards the end, and definitely want more Pinhead and more Cenobites in general. So I'm down for a sequel. I hope they do that. And again, I love how the lament configuration was literal here. And we really see how devious the Cenobites are. Like they hint at you get a prize, you get a gift or whatever, but it's just all pain. It's just more and more pain. All they know is pain. So by the time you learn that, basically to get out of it, to get out with your skin, you got to give up and just live with all the pain. And you get stuck with the lament configuration. That's the configuration you choose, is dealing with it for the rest of your life, dealing with all of your mistakes, which was a cool little thing they added in there. I'm not sure if that was ever hinted at in other films, but here it was really cool that they made that just like a straightforward aspect from the Cenobites to Lily, our lead. The only negatives were, I guess I thought more liberties could have been taken with the camera. Could have been a little more stylish. Like, as much love and care put into the film, I really do think some cooler shots and some, more cerebral camera work really could have just benefited the film a lot. And the Cenobites, again, why couldn't they get into the mansion? Someone let me know. Did I miss something? Oh, and the junkie boyfriend here, I just kept thinking of MGK when I saw him. Overall, though, has one of the best endings in the franchise, as we see, like, the Leviathan god basically be transformed and born. We see Voight get his prize in the end, which is power, which is the Leviathan configuration. It was very cool to see, and it really, really makes you want to just get into this lore, and I want more of this timeline, more of this franchise. Come on, Hulu, give it to us. Make it a Halloween thing. Why not? Overall, I really do recommend Hellraiser 2022. We got to call it that, I guess. But I would say, of course, the original Hellraiser is probably still my favorite. But this one is right up there. I think it's one of the best remakes in general as far as horror goes to have ever been done. And I highly recommend it, Staunch Gang. Let me know what you think when you do see it. And I hope, I know there was a lot of spoilers in this review, but I try to keep it a little vague. That way you can still get some joy out of watching it, Trying to get the channel growing as much as possible. And all month long is basically horror movie stuff. I will be doing some more music video reviews and touching on other bands and whatnot. So it's a party over here at Staunch TV. It's just also Staunch-O-Ween. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon.